Hello, everybody, or everyone. Am I on time? Yes, I am on time. All right. Wow, there are so many of you. If you can, please let me know if you can hear me. I would love to hear from somebody. Just say you can hear me. I am trying new equipment today. Hello. Can someone please let me know if you can hear me and if you can hear me well? Okay, so yes, somebody's saying changing his life every day. Hello, Joanna. Yes, okay. Sound is perfect. Yes, perfect. Yes, okay. Yeah. All right. So this is round 4 of the lives, and I can see there are so many. There's absolutely no way that I can even keep track of the chat that's going on. So you're going to have to forgive me. For those of you who are joining me live, thank you so much. If you are new, well, my camera is here. If you are new to my channel, I hope you stay. I hope you like what you hear. If you do like what you hear, then please click the subscribe button. That will really help me tremendously to spread the message. And the message I want to spread, which is to yell across the world, is how to love yourself, basically, because everything comes from that. So if you are new, I hope you stay. And if you would like to pass it on to somebody, maybe you know someone who could use this information in order to help them learn how to love themselves, that would be just wonderful. It tells people that there is something worthwhile listening to here. For those of you, of course, who are new, thank you so much for coming back. I always will say this. Without you, I wouldn't do this. Without you, I wouldn't have the drive to push myself beyond limits. And I am pushing myself beyond limits right now. Going live is a very different experience than being behind camera. And even though I knew it was going to be a different experience, I didn't realize just to the extent of how different it is. Energetically speaking, it is takes a lot more out of me. And the reason for it is apparently because I am channeling through quite high frequencies, and it takes a lot out of me to hold these frequencies for over an hour. For those of you who do energy work or healing work, you will know what I mean. So why am I saying all of this to you? Because just because before I got on live, I felt this odd but familiar feeling. And it was a feeling of having this fear. And it's like, oh God, here we go again. Why is it coming back? And this is the 4th one. So you'd figure that I would be least resistant to it. And it turns out that I'm most resistant to it. It's almost like the first 3 times were okay. And now my ego goes, are we doing this really? So I tune into this fear, and it's like, okay, here we go. Nothing's going to happen. Everything is fine. And I was just beginning to feel what I normally used to feel, which is a habit of fearing rejection. So even though I'm not there anymore, there's a part of me that's still attached to having that feeling as a normal thing. And I recognized it when it showed up. So what I want to say here with this is you may experience extra resistance over the next little while. As you all know, we are all going through incredibly powerful frequencies. We are clearing a lot of second chakra stuff, which is all about the feminine power, and anything to do with second chakra, feminine power, holding our feminine power back. We are moving more into being more expressive of our feminine power. Whether you're a male or female, it makes no difference. Expression to me of feminine power is being in a flow with the universal flow. So this, as the information says, is going to be for water signs. Let me take a deep breath for a moment to ground myself. I heard them say to me, I don't know where to look because I'm trying a different camera today. The other 3 messages the sound was terrible, so I ordered new equipment and see how that works. So hopefully it's going to work better. I don't really like the color too much, but who cares? As long as you can hear me okay, that's all good. So I'm just looking at all the names. Thank you, all of you. Angela, Sylvia, Marnie, Veronica, Marnie again, a name I can't pronounce, Charla, all of you. Thank you so much for being here. I adore every single one of you. What do I want to say? Yes, thank you. I'm being reminded to tell all of you, every single one of you, that while you are listening to these messages, you are getting a healing. Whether you are listening to it live, hello from Holland, hello. Whether you are listening to it live or you're listening to it when it's been recorded, it makes no difference. Somehow, my human mind doesn't quite know how this works, but somehow the healing comes through, even though it's pre-recorded. So throughout the session, you may experience several things. You may experience emotional triggering, which means I will say something and you will get triggered, and the trigger is to bring up an emotional block in order for it to be released. So if you do get triggered by something that comes through my mouth, just acknowledge what's being triggered and try not to press it down. If you can manage it, acknowledge the feeling by observing the feeling, almost as if you are watching it from a distance. And as I'm going to be talking, I have a feeling they will be pointing at different things you might be feeling at any given moment. So I will walk you through it if I'm being asked to do that. Where is the healing going to take place? Well, we're all getting a healing overall. Each and every one of you, me, is getting a healing where we are most needing to get a healing. But the focus is on root chakra, no, crown chakra, and our root and second chakra, which is the first and the second, which is survivability and trust and safety. And when we are not safe, when we don't feel safe, we are less likely to create, we're less likely to be true to ourselves, we're more likely to hold back, and also less likely to connect. It's not even that we're less likely to connect, because we're connected all the time. We are less likely to feel being tuned in. So I can see there's a bit of delay here, and I'm going to try not to look at the camera because that's going to screw with my head. So every one of you is getting a healing. What else would you like me to say? So if you are interested in getting this healing, you're getting one anyway, I would like you to just take a moment, close your eyes, take a deep breath, let it out, and then say these words to yourself and to the universe. I allow myself to be healed. I allow myself to be healed. Now, why would we need to allow ourselves to be healed, right? Why would we allow ourselves to be healed? What comes to mind is that we may not feel worthy, and that too is second chakra stuff. So let me go through some of the notes that I have for the water element, and I will do each sign at the very end. I also want to say, if you are new to this channel and if you are not familiar with the private Facebook page, there's a link on the bottom to private Facebook page. We have, I think, about 4,600 or almost 4,700 members. And it's a community where people get together in safe environment, practicing self-love and caring for each other, being supportive for each other in a very loving, caring environment. So if you would like to be part of this community, and I do and will do different things for the group members exclusively, which is something that's not going to be on this channel. if you'd like to be a part of that group, that link is right there below. Of course, if you would like to have a session with me, whether it's a healing session or more of a psychological session, which I love, that information is also down below, and I would be absolutely honored to work with you. Before we start, I am being asked to mention that it might be a good idea now to focus on your root chakra in order to be grounded. So I'm going to take a moment, focus on my root chakra. And the way I am perceiving my root chakra, it's spinning. And for me, it happens to be spinning clockwise. I don't know if it's right or not right. I don't care. That's how it's spinning for me. So if yours doesn't spin, that's okay. If it spins in a different direction, that's totally fine too. This is how I feel mine is spinning. And as I'm watching it spin, it has almost like a gravitational pull to pull me down so that I feel more grounded. Whatever image comes to you, I would invite you just to settle in the feeling of your root chakra feeling solid. You can accomplish this by imagining growing roots from your tailbone or through your feet. And as you're doing this, I hear it's gonna get wild. Not because it's bad, but I do feel, and it's not just this session, it's going forward. And like I said, the energies we are in right now are extraordinarily powerful. And wow, we have 281 of you watching. Jesus, thank you so much. Number 66. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Where was I going with this? Yes, so we have tremendously powerful energies, and it is really, really, really important for us to make sure that we stay grounded, to drink a lot of water. If you are experiencing headaches, all these symptoms, if you will, it is suggested that you make sure that you take care of your body in the best possible way. Now, what it also does, what the taking care of the body does, it focuses you or forces you or reminds you that you are your first priority. And if you do not take care of you, it's not going to be as smooth sailing. In other words, before you take care of anybody else, you have to take care of you. So that is a message out there for somebody. The big theme for water signs, and as far as I'm concerned, it's for every single sign, is the idea of acceptance. Again, to me, that connects with second chakra and third chakra, which is solar plexus. Of course, the second chakra being the feminine and the solar plexus being the masculine energy. Acceptance, so that's one. Number two, the month of July seems to be a month of reflections and realizations. But even though this is for July, those of you who are donating, I cannot thank you enough. There's a little girl in me still that believes that she's not worthy. So when I was being asked to turn the super chat on, which is where you can donate, I went, ooh, okay, so that's my thing when it comes to receiving, but I'm learning how to receive. So for those of you who are donating and have donated through PayPal, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, where was I? Yes, reflections and realizations. So even though this is for the month of July, I expect these messages to make sense to you between now and the rest of the year. And that's because between now and the rest of the year, we are rebuilding and or solidifying a brand new foundation in terms of our thoughts, which means in order to build and solidify a brand new foundation, we have to dismantle the old foundation. And that can feel a little bit topsy-turvy because it means letting go of the old so the new can come in. And this is the process of change. This is where we are. We're right smack in the middle of this. I've said this before. I believe I said it in 2019, that for some reason, 2020 and 2021 feels just different. They're like 2 years that kind of stand out to me from all the other years. And I believe that when we look back, say 10 years from now, or even few years from now, we will look at 2020 and 2021 as a very catalytic time. Catalytic, I don't even know if that's a word, but it's catalyst. It's those are 2 years where there is a catalyst of growth. Catalyst, something is spurting. Something is, birthing. Something is birthing. If you are expecting changes, make sure that you expect only the best changes. Will all the changes be the best that you want? Probably. Some of the changes you may not like right away, but soon enough you will realize that even if you don't like the changes down the road, you will look at those changes and you will realize that that's the best thing that could have ever happened. So the danger with that is that we may have a tendency to hold on to things, which you will know if you are holding on to things too tightly, if you are gripping too tightly, if you experience resistance. And I have been experiencing resistance. I know all of you have been experiencing those. If you comment, I have heard you say to me that you've been experiencing resistance. It's kind of felt all across the board in all of the signs that I've done so far, this being the last. So resistance is quite prominent right now, but resistance is not a bad thing. It simply means there is some turmoil happening. And here's what I say about turmoil. When turmoil is happening, it means something is changing. So it's actually a sign of a good thing. So if you see resistance, if you feel resistance over the next little while, don't necessarily look at it as a bad thing. Look at it as a sign that something inside of you is changing. Okay? Somebody's saying energy is very intense. Yes, very powerful. The way I feel this energy, and I've mentioned this goddess before, it's goddess Kali. I do not feel, I don't get the energy of her as being destruction and just evil. That's not how I perceive the energy. I do perceive this energy as very feminine, but cleanup. So anything that's no longer serving, it's on its way out. And it feels to be fast moving. It's almost like a torpedo. It doesn't mingle words. It's very straight to the point. So, and it doesn't suffer fools. I'm not actually sure what that means exactly. But if let me just say it this way. If you've been in a habit of having lame excuses to not change something because of something, this energy is, your excuses are not going to work anymore. That's the way it is. So you might as well just give in to this energy. All right. Again, for those of you who are saying, Marnie, Sarah, Misha, thank you so much, all of you. Yeah, so I'm noticing that when I read comments, I'm not in a flow. So I'm going to try not to do that because it actually, I don't like how this feels. It's like I have to step away and step back in. It's like coming and going in a moving train. So I'm just going to keep on going here. At the end, I will look at the comments. All right, where are we going next? So, how are you all feeling? Have you grounded yourself? Have you given yourself permission to be healed? Because you are getting a healing during this transmission. Okay? If you are here, you're open to healing. You may not know it, but you are. All right. Healing the feminine expression. It's all about being in the flow. I'm just reading what I was getting from the meditation. Some of you, particularly if you're Cancer, here's the message for you, and I haven't even gotten to the single signs, to the individual signs. If you are a Cancer in particular, here's a message for you. You are being okay with being seen. If this message resonates with you and you're not Cancer, don't worry about the sign, but the message is very strong. You are moving more towards being in a space where you are okay with being seen. And that statement can mean many things. It's not just being seen by other people on the outside. It's allowing yourself to be seen on the inside, which is all about vulnerability. So if you are a Cancer sign, even if you're not, you're moving to a space in your own being where you will feel less resistant to putting yourself out there and feeling vulnerable. I am making a point of letting you know that I am making myself vulnerable right now because I come from a past where my biggest thing was fear of rejection or fear of abandonment. So any sort of putting myself out there triggers their rejection buttons. But at the same time, as I'm saying this about me, hopefully by you seeing me going through it anyway, hopefully it gives you almost like a bit of a boost that you can do the same thing, because I'm no different than you, you're no different than me. We're just wearing different suits as far as I'm concerned, but we all experience fears, the same desires, the same wants, likes and dislikes. So if you are a Cancer, even if you're not, you're moving much more into a space of being much more free with showing up and allowing other people to really see you. Also, you're not as guarded in hiding your emotions, whether it is showing satisfaction, dissatisfaction, guiding your emotions. You know what that means. If you are in a habit of guarding your emotions, then you will find yourself feeling less guarded over time. And the time frame I want to give is between now and the rest of the year. So this is going to be obviously a gradual thing. You can't just expect to hold yourself back emotionally and the next day put yourself in front of 1,000 people and be okay. It doesn't work that way. Wish it did, but the whole point is to face it and to go through it. So that's something really powerful to look forward to, because this is what it says for every single one of you. This is what it says. It says that you are no longer as much in the habit of trying to be somebody you're not or trying to hide yourself. Now, I don't know about you, but to feel compelled to just stand there, be yourself with all your vulnerabilities and say, here I am, and I'm vulnerable, that's powerful. That is bloody powerful. I forgot to mention a little bit of a disclaimer. I may say the word shit or screw or something like that. If you're offended, you might just click off the channel, because sometimes it will come out of my mouth. It's just part of how I communicate. I being asked to not apologize for it. I'm not going to be throwing profanities, but sometimes I use these words to give an extra oomph to the message that's wanting to come through. So if you are offended, it's just FYI. Most of you actually say that you really like when I say the word here and there, because it makes me more real. I don't know how much more real I can be. It's you basic. This is what you get. This is what you get. All right. So what is the first card that represents the energies that we are working with? I actually thought it was beautiful because it's called Delight. So I'm going to hold this in. I have a new camera. So I'm going to just see if that works right there. Delight. Okay. There we go. Number 19, which comes to a 10, which is, of course, completion. And I will read to you what this card says. The frequency of delight supports our capacity to create and experience feelings of intense joy and happiness. The more delight we feel, the more delight we awake in others. Look how beautiful this is. Absolutely, absolutely beautiful. So this is a frequency to allow us be more in flow of joy, more in flow of happiness. That's the first card. 2 came out, so I thought it was important that I show 2. The second one is throat chakra. Okay, so I'm seeing there's a bit of a delay here. Again, throat chakra is all about how we communicate. But this particular message, this particular card is about connecting the heart and the mind, and what's in between, it's the throat. And when our mind is in unison with our heart, or our heart is in unison with our mind, we are in a space where we can express so much more, which means the mind is not fighting what's in the heart, or the heart is not trying to protect itself by being too analytical. So if you are someone who's highly, highly, highly analytical, which for a water sign, that's quite interesting. If you're someone who's highly analytical, over the next 6 months, because you will be resolving some pretty deep scars within you, that need to hold yourself back is going to lessen. You will feel much more at ease to speak your truth, and therefore you will not be as analytical. It's almost like something happens here and you give yourself permission to think less. So if you're someone highly analytical, think about it. If you woke up tomorrow morning and all of a sudden you are not as in your head, can you imagine how wonderful that would be? I know what it's like to be in the head. My rising is Libra, so I'm very much in here. The mind is what fascinates me, so that's not a bad thing, but I need to really focus on making sure that I'm not here, that I'm here as well. And the unison, the relationship between the mind and the heart is what's really important. And if you really think about it, this is really what we are moving into, to be more heart-centered, to be more living from the space of the heart. It doesn't mean that we don't think, of course, we need discernment, but it does mean that we are not just here, that we are kind of somewhere in between, and we're using one or the other depending on the situation, or both, preferably. So I'm going to read this to you. It says, the frequency of the throat chakra, the blue flower of life, supports our self-expression and our sense of peace and balance. So we have the energy of the light, and we have the energy of balance, harmony. Now, how beautiful is that? We have 365 people watching. That is out of this freaking world. Thank you so much. Okay. Remember, this is not just for July, but it's starting right now. Now, what is all this leading us to? Soul time. This is about experiencing a brand new reality. Just trying to see if there's no glare. 4-0, brand new beginnings, brand new foundations, closing of cycles and new beginnings. We are essentially moving to a space where we will allow ourselves to express ourselves in a different way, in a much more authentic way. It doesn't mean that we are not authentic right now. It just means we will feel free to be more authentic. Why? Because we will fear judgment less. We will not be as fearful of judgments. So if you're one of those people that's going to feel much more okay with putting yourself out there and be seen, it's because you will not be as afraid of being judged, or of being criticized, or of being, I don't know, not on the same page as with somebody else. At the end of the day, whatever the person, whether they believe in you or don't believe in you, it's got nothing to do with you. It's got everything to do with them. Okay. The other thing I want to say to some of you, you need to hear this. You owe no one an explanation about how you feel. So if you are trying to explain to someone how you feel, you owe no one explanation. The only person you owe explanation is you. So that's really, really important to some of you. Now, the next two cards come up, that came up, are cards that have been showing up consistently throughout the last, all the signs and through the biweeklies. And one of them came up just yesterday in the biweekly, in a weekly pulse. Look at this. If you've watched the newest weekly pulse, you'll probably scream. This is the Kundalini rising card. It's essentially the card of power, of us embodying our power. Can I use that word? Also, when I first got this deck, the moment I looked at these flames, I heard all eyes on you. For some of you, this rise in your own inner power will put you in front of other people. So again, if you are one of those people that will be much more okay with being seen, this card is, as far as I'm concerned, is a blessing for you. Okay? You may experience this Kundalini rising in many ways. And if you want to watch the other signs, it basically explains the same thing. I feel the energies all across the board. The only thing that differs is the individual sign. But the Kundalini rising card is all about your internal power. It's all about your realization of the power that you are. And you may feel this as intense heat. You may actually feel this as an anxiety that comes up at first because it's a surge of energy. Some of you may feel this during your sleep, something crawling up your spine. I've said this before. I've experienced this a few years ago when I woke up in the middle of the night because I felt like there was a snake climbing up my spine. And it was so freaking real. I woke up screaming. Of course, there was no snake in my back, but that's what I felt it. It was just like it. So now that I know what it is, but still the feeling is kind of creepy. This Kundalini rising will put you on a map. What do I mean by that? It will make you more visible. So whoever you are, whether you're going to be more visible because you put yourself more out there and people really see you, vulnerability, or you really will be working with people, perhaps even across the globe, across the world. And if that's the case, if you are one of those people who has presence, let's say on YouTube or some other platform, and it is across the globe or across the world, then you showing up and not hiding as much is a beautiful thing. Why? Because when you don't hide, when you show up fully, every single one of you who watches that, or every single person who watches you coming up fully, showing up fully, wants to do the same thing. It's by showing up fully, you give people permission almost for them to show up fully as well, except they don't need permission. But it feels good when they can see someone doing it because it lets them feel less alone. Okay, so that is a beautiful thing. The next card is emotional challenge. So this is a time of looking at your emotional challenges. What does it say on the bottom? Resolve the issue. The month of July, and as far as I'm concerned going forward, whenever you have an issue that arises or a conflict, whether it's conflict with someone else or it's inner conflict, do yourself a favor and try and resolve it rather than just trying to deal with the symptoms. Okay? Because what's happening over the next little while is certain things will be amplified They will be shown to us. And when they are shown to us, we have the ability to look at it and resolve it. So during this time, there is incredible opportunity to look at the root causes of your challenges. In other words, what is it inside of you that has created part of this experience, part of your experience? So let's say you are in a relationship, as an example, and something comes up and an issue of trust comes up. And so somebody said something that wasn't true or lied to you, whatever it is. Don't automatically assume that what happened was because someone wanted to hurt you. Because mistakes happen and people get hurt, and we don't mean people to be hurt. Shit happens. But what if the experience comes up and you dig deeper into this situation and you realize that your hidden perception is that you can't trust people? Because you've learned at a young age, due to something that happened, that you can't trust somebody. Maybe you had a best friend when you were young and you loved this friend, and this friend has betrayed you. From that moment on, you realize you can't trust anybody. So unless you resolve that belief system of not trusting, you will continually be dealing with the symptoms, which is a situation. So that's just an example. I mean, we can use other examples, any example if you want. What I'm saying is, whatever comes up over the next little while that feels uncomfortable, something in particularly that you don't want to deal with, if you don't want to deal with something, it is a sign that this is exactly what you need to deal with right now. So maybe make this as a challenge. Make this as a promise to yourself that from now until the end of this year, let's focus on July. In the month of July, any challenge that comes up in your life, you are going to face it. However big or however small, you're going to face it. Because you have two choices. One is to face it, and one is to not face it. When you don't face it, you pretend it's not there, except it's still there, right? When you face it, you have an opportunity to resolve it. Now, the resolving part is the most uncomfortable part because it asks you to look at your internal dialogue, at your internal compass, which is your feeling. And something came up few weeks ago when I was doing the monthlies, and I changed the format already, and somebody commented that they really didn't like the format because they would write, it's all about the feeling. And I love that comment so much, and actually made me smile because I realized what the person was saying. The person was saying, I don't want to talk about the feelings, just tell me what to do. And totally accepted and, beautiful, that's where the person is. But the reality is, it's all about the feeling. It's all about the feeling. So unless we resolve inner conflict, which is a feeling, then problems persist. So don't be one of those people that continually runs away from problems. I hope there is none of you that do that, but because I'm being asked to say it, chances are there's one or two. Because when you are running away from something, then that means something is chasing you. When something is chasing you, you're not going to feel rest. You're always going to feel anxious. As a matter of fact, if you are prone to an anxiety, you really need to face what is the root cause of your anxiety. And it's always fear. An anxiety is always fear. So any challenges that you have in a month of July and going forward for the rest of the next 6 months, make it your top priority to deal with any conflict or any issues that arises, whether it's your inner conflict or conflict with something or somebody else. This will allow you to push through some of that energy. And the only way to deal with fear is to walk through it. That's why I am learning how to put myself out there in front of you, even though it's not very comfortable, although I'm a little better now. There was actually a moment last week where I actually enjoyed it. I surprised myself. I actually enjoyed being live. And I know that's part of my training, just to show up and trusting that the universe is going to give me exactly what I need to deliver rather than me being in my head. So trust, guys, is a big thing. We are at 402 people. You guys, I cannot say thank you enough. I cannot say thank you enough. Thank you so much for all of you. Thank you so much. So this next card came up, I believe, in the last weekly. The cards are all the same, and I keep shuffling them also between clients. This beautiful card of Between Worlds. You might feel a little bit like you're swimming between two worlds, not quite sure where you stand and not quite sure where you belong. It is not a very comfortable feeling because it does not have stability. So it feels like you're kind of floating. But here's what I want to say. You're floating only temporarily. And that's because you're no longer the person you used to be, but you haven't quite arrived at your new destination yet. So if you feel like you're floating, if you feel like you are, because I get it in my chest, it's not a very comfortable feeling. Imagine just floating and not knowing where you stand. It's not a comfortable feeling. Chances are that feeling has some deeper lesson in it for you. So tune into that feeling and ask yourself, what is it? What is it? Chances are quite high that you are one of those people that has had, at least in the past, difficulty feeling safe and secure in your own body, and probably had some challenges or difficulties with a sense of belonging. Okay? So you may feel over the next little while that you don't know where you belong. Hear me when I say this, it's temporary. It's temporary. Okay? The best you can do when you are having this feeling is to ground. It's to ground. That's why it's so important. That's why they mentioned at the beginning, it's so important to make sure that you're working with your root chakra and you are grounded. Make it a habit of every single day when you wake up, before you get out of bed, to be grateful for your day and to ground yourself. And then do grounding throughout the day. Don't make it complicated. Make it pretty simple. But make it a habit. Okay? This card also says new direction. It's also number of 5, which is number of changes. And the reason why you might feel like you are floating is because you're heading a new direction. In other words, you're changing your home. You're changing your home base. For some of you, the home base might have been a state of anxiety. And if you have always felt anxious most of your life, that's your home. That's your home. And you don't even think about it because it's just who you are. So imagine the feeling of an anxiety being a part of your life, and you get so used to it, it's you, and then all of a sudden that feeling goes away. I've had that happen. It's a very weird and bizarre feeling, because all of a sudden it kind of freaks you out. It's like, what do you mean I'm not afraid? So sometimes it can get some getting used to. So if you are someone who's been fairly anxious most of your life, the change of direction is you moving into a state of less anxiety. Now, I don't know about you, but that's a big thing. That is a big, big, big thing. Okay. I laughed at the next card based on the information I received, because what I was told is that the next little while is all about realizations and revelations. Well, look what was looking at me. The card of revelation. So this is about things being revealed. And as a result of this revelation, we have realizations. You might come to terms with certain situations from your past as a result of looking at it from a different angle and getting a new understanding. And this new understanding of an old situation will allow you to move on. And each one of you will experience it differently. Some of you will do it with other people. Some of you will do it through meditation. Some of you, it'll just be an awareness. I mean, it could be various things, but things are absolutely being revealed. Now, what happens when things are revealed? Oftentimes, change begins to take place. Okay? Change generally denotes leaving the old and moving into the new, which is again between the worlds. Okay? And of course, as everybody already knows, we're all in transitions. To follow with this, the card of reflection showed up. Okay? It did come up that way. And that tells me one thing. It tells me that you might be tempted to ignore certain signs. If you've been getting a feeling of needing to talk to somebody or needing to face something, don't ignore those feelings. Don't ignore those warnings. They're there for a reason. Okay? We don't want to not reflect when things are in front of us, because that's a wasted opportunity. So make another habit for yourself, and that is that whatever life presents to you, you will reflect upon it, which means you're not necessarily going to react to it. You're going to step away from it, look at it from a different angle, from an observer's point of view, and you're going to reflect. When we reflect, it requires a different analytical process. Number one, it allows you to step away from a very intense feeling. Ever observe yourself having a very intense feeling and just being freaked out, and then imagining yourself stepping away from the feeling? It's almost like separating yourself from that feeling. I've done it before. It's not always easy to do it as it's happening. Generally, you can do it after. But learn how to separate your feelings from yourself. And I often give an example of seeing yourself dealing with a situation, but look at yourself in a movie screen or on a movie screen. Those are some of the techniques that I use. So do not negate your responsibility this next few months. And that is to look after yourself, which includes dealing with things that are presented to you. Okay? If you are someone who has been used to not wanting to deal with things, you don't want to do that. It's because the energy gets stronger and stronger. And eventually what happens is when you have a feeling that you need to deal with something and you don't, life is going to step in and it will make you or force you to deal with it. The way I look at it, I'll deal with it on my own terms. So that's a message for some of you out there. Okay? I love the spider. Spider is all about the process. Look up the meaning of a spider and see how it applies to you. It's very relevant. Relevant, yes. It's all about the process. Don't focus on the outcome. Focus on the process. You as a being have everything inside of you to deal with whatever is in front of you. Granted, you may not know that. You may not feel it. Yes. Particularly if you are triggered, you may not have access to certain wisdom, but the wisdom is always inside of you. So as part of your process over the next little while, You might need someone to help you resolve some things, to help you see things differently, to help you attract abundance, for example, by helping you realize how you block yourself from abundance. And when we are in it, it's hard to see. Someone who is observing you will have a far more opportunity to see you more than you see yourself. Okay, but process here is indicated. Stay true to the process. What does that mean? Staying true to the process means staying true to yourself. That's very important. Okay. Now I feel, how are we doing, guys? We're at 50 minutes. I think it's time for the individual signs. Is this making sense? You've been seeing spiders, Vicky, perfect. Grounding, yes. We have to be able to zoom in and zoom out for the bigger picture, the divine echo tarot. Hi. Perfect, yes, okay. You guys are doing great. Are any of you feeling any bodily sensations at all? I've had some heat go through me, quite intense at some moments. Okay, so let's put these away. And now let's go through each individual signs. So the first sign I'm going to focus on is Cancer. Now the message that I saw for Cancer signs still stands. So at the very beginning I mentioned, if you're a Cancer and you are naturally someone who hides feelings, you are moving to a space where you are much more open to be seen. You're much more open to being vulnerable. You are allowing people to really see you. And whether that's at work or in relationships or just in general, that is a huge sign. And I will tell you how you will get there: by releasing yourself from your own inner constraints. I always say this, and I will always say it. The moment you realize who you are is the moment where you allow yourself to be out there more, because you realize that you have nothing to prove. The moment you realize you have nothing to prove, think about this. The moment you realize that you have nothing to prove, the world is your oyster. Because that means you don't have to fit to be anything or anyone. You get to be you. You get to be you. And in order to be you, to express you, you have to know yourself. And in order to know yourself, you have to do some reflection. I love it. So 2 cards came out for Cancer. 4 of Wands and Justice in reverse. For those of you who are tarot readers, I am always going to say I'm not a tarot reader. I suck at it. But I will tell you what this is saying to me. You are in a space of change. Whatever has been your foundation, I feel it's changing. Whether it is an end of a relationship, an end of a certain career, an end of a certain job, an end of a certain way of doing things, that's fundamental. So this will be relationship, job, anything of that nature. Something is ending. Whatever has not been balanced, state of mind as well, or your emotions, you seem to be moving past it, which also means endings and new beginnings. Okay, now I'm going to look at these cards and see if I can. For some of you, the message is you're farther than you think. And this is for those of you who are questioning, I've done all this work and why is nothing showing up? So if you are one of those people and something is ending, it's because something is about to show up in its place. Okay? Thank you so much, Kimberly. Thank you so much for your donation. If something is coming to an end, if certain doors are closing, It's because something else is on its way to you. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you don't resist whatever this is. Okay? I feel for many of you, this is how you express yourself creatively, which for some of you will have financial connections, but it doesn't have to be, and it's also relationships. So for some of you, some doors are closing. What you want to pay attention to is what is out of balance in your life. What is no longer satisfying? What is no longer fulfilling? What is no longer, what are you practicing that's no longer true to you? What if you've been in a career for 10 years and in the last 2 years you've changed drastically? How you connect with your career is going to change. It may not be as satisfying anymore. And the moment you change internally, it's just a matter of time before it shifts into your physical life and changes your reality. So you are being asked to pay attention to what is no longer serving you and what is not in balance, what is not in tune with who you are. And how will you know that? You'll feel it. You'll feel it. You either know it already or you will feel it. If there are things in your life that are out of balance, I want you to be open to letting it go, to closing that door, so that the universe can bring you more things that are in tune with you and therefore much more balanced for you. Okay? I feel like I want to pull an extra card. For some of you, this is leaving a relationship. I think I mentioned that already. I feel like I want another message for a sign of Cancer. Be persistent with your career goals. Some of you have career goals, but you're not being persistent. You're wishy-washy, or you're questioning yourself, or you're doubting. Doubt is part of change. Doubt is normal, but don't let doubt stop you from achieving your goals. Okay, remember, doubt is that you're doubting yourself or doubting the universe. The universe has everything you could possibly want. But if you doubt your ability to have it, what is the universe going to do? The universe is going to support you in that. So you got to shift your thinking. So I also see the Ace of Cups in my mind in reverse. It's an emotional clearing. Makes perfect sense to me. Okay. We have the Fool. So there's absolutely a brand new energy for you, Cancers. And this energy will require you to take some risks. Make sure that the risks are aligned with what your truth is. If you are risking your truth, then that's going to cost you. And I don't mean cost you financially. It's going to cost you emotionally. If you are risking being yourself in order to fulfill some obligation, you got to think hard about that one. Okay? But there's absolutely a brand new beginning around you guys. Okay, so that was for Cancers. Next one is Scorpio. So my beautiful Scorpios. I have a beautiful friend who's a Scorpio. I love her dearly. Her name is Stephanie. You guys are deep, deep, deep signs. And I believe that you're the polar opposite of Taurus. So tell me about Scorpio. Some of you Scorpios you're looking through your own prison cell. Now hear what I say. You're looking through your own prison cell, which means you put yourself in it. And that means if you put yourself in it, you can get yourself out. The question is, how bad do you want it? Because in order for you to be out of your prison cell, you have to take a risk. You have to trust. You have to trust something or somebody if you don't trust yourself. So the first card is coming up. What do we got? Ooh, we've got confusion. not knowing what to choose or decide. If there is a situation in your life that's causing you confusion or not knowing what to decide, perhaps it's not the right time to decide. Perhaps it's time to wait until it is more clear. I also feel that the indecision or the confusion is not so much with what's on the outside, but more so with what is in you. What is it in you that causes confusion? Remember, the next 6 months is all about learning about ourselves, learning to go deeper, learning to understand our emotions, learning to face our challenges. So that's the first card. There might be some confusion in your life that you are experiencing and you're not knowing what to choose. Okay? The message is perhaps it's not time to choose yet. So if you don't have to choose right away, give it some time. I feel around a month. So let's say at the end of July, beginning of August, you will have a better idea of what choice to make. And for many of you, it has to do with home, whether living arrangements, whether situation at home, whether something to do with a physical home. That's what it feels like. By the way, if some of you can just let me know, all of a sudden I got really, really, really hungry. Is somebody really hungry right now? Or it could be this energy that I'm working with. That definitely makes me hungry. It takes a lot out of me. All right, the next card for Scorpio. Munchies, yes, me too. What is the next message for the sign of Scorpio, please? Oh, there's not too many. Be patient with yourself. This is what you may feel over the next little while. You may come out of your prison, which means you'll take a chance, you'll take a risk, and then you'll go right back in. So here's what I want to say to you. It's almost a bit of a warning. You might be tempted to go and do the same thing again, the thing that didn't work in the first place. If you are tempted to do it again, having seen it not working the first time, you have to ask yourself the question, why? What do you think has changed? What do you think is going to change? If you haven't changed, it's not going to change because you are part of it. So there's a bit of a warning here for some of you who are tempted to go and do the same thing even though it didn't work. Now, for others of you, doing something that didn't work the first time could be very appropriate, but that's not what I mean. This is about you going into your old patterns and somehow thinking that it's going to be different. It won't. It won't. Okay? But I still want a card. Some of you, see, cards are not coming out, but I'm getting the messages. Some of you are experiencing this incredible inner conflict. You're in opposition of yourself. If you are that person, and most people have some opposition, but if you're having an internal battle, you have two distinct sides of you. One side that wants this and one side that wants this or doesn't want this, then in order for you to move in a certain direction, you need to resolve the inner conflict. And resolving inner conflict is what it's all about. Those are the messages for Scorpios. I don't have any other cards. I don't need any cards. I just heard you never had to. My guides are really funny. My team is really funny. Then they really keep me on my toes. Okay. Now let's move on to the sign of Pisces. Oh, beautiful. So what I see right away for sign of Pisces is you're coming out of hiding, and I'm getting chills. So if you are Pisces and you just got chills when I said you're coming out of hiding, yeah, I don't need cards, right? It's my little baby blanket. If you are Pisces, then you are coming out of hiding. Somebody said finally. Yes, Martina. Yes. You are coming out of hiding. if you've hidden most of your life, coming out of hiding is not particularly comfortable. Why? Because people get to see you. And if you have been hiding you for most of your life, for whatever reason, not feeling good enough, not feeling worthy, the gazillion things we tell ourselves. And then all of a sudden, you are opening up for the world to see you. That can be a little bit threatening. So what I want to say here is baby steps at a time. Little baby steps at a time. Actually, the image I have for you is the oyster. It's from this deck. It's the oyster. You are the pearl in the oyster. And chances are, if you're a Pisces, you have some pretty significant gift that you are shy or hiding. You are shy about or hiding. And this gift is significant. It's also very powerful. It can do a lot of damage and it can do a lot of good. When we are in power, we are in power equally in the negative and the positive. The only difference is which way we go is our intention. So make no mistakes. When you are in your true power, your power can go either way. And your intention is what decides which direction your power is channeled in or is focused in. So if you're a Pisces, you're coming out of hiding, and it has a lot to do with your confidence and your own inner power. If you're also Pisces, your inner child is needing consideration. So the message here is work on your inner child, as that's where the resistance is. And I am feeling it right here, right now, right here, right smack here. If you are feeling this, you don't have to be Pisces, but if you are feeling this, particularly if you're a Pisces, just let me know. Okay. Is there anything else for Pisces? What I'm also getting, if you're a Pisces, you might want to think about doing some cleanse. I'm not a doctor and I'm not a nutritionist, but some kind of a cleanse to cleanse your body, dietary cleanse, food cleanse. This will help with the healing that we are receiving. So if you can do a physical cleanse, it will support the healing, the energetic healing that you're getting right now. Is there anything else for Pisces? I just got a bit of a pain in my neck right here, so it's on my left side. If you've had experiences with having a stiff neck, particularly your left side, I keep getting the word overthinking. Okay, so if you are the overthinker kind, notice if you're not feeling it as tension in your neck, particularly left side. All right. What else? Ooh, they came out. Okay, so we have the card of Six of Swords and Queen of Coins. Very interesting messages here. To me, Six of Swords is about resisting moving on. And the resisting of moving on has to do with your sense of value. Therefore, if you are in a resistance mode over the next little while, tune into the resistance so that you can see what part of you is resisting what. What I love seeing is this, because to me, even though it's a card of money, I don't see it that way. I mean, yes, it could be, but to me, it's much more than that. To me, it's about your own value. And notice this is a female, feminine power. We're working with feminine power. It's about owning your value with feminine energy. I think that makes sense. It's owning your value. It's standing on your own 2 feet. What it also says is, for some of you, this is about having your own financial house under your domain, which in plain English speaks to doing something on your own, being your own boss, and being financially independent. Okay. The red hair to me speaks to someone who's very fiery. Fire is what's fire, spirit. So to me, there is a spiritual connection here to physicality. Chances are quite a few of you are going to express your individual self through some spiritual way, and that will help you bring in some money, or it will draw financial success to you. Okay? It will draw financial success to you. Is there anything else? I want to say to you, if you're Pisces, watch your commitments. Watch your commitments. Why? Some of you are overcommitting. You are overcommitting. Whenever we over anything, it's because we are compensating for something that we feel are lacking. So if you are overcommitting on anything, explore this and ask yourself why. What is it that has you overcommitting? Okay. Sometimes we overcommit because it's something we need to do for, temporary period of time. But more often than not, we make it a habit. So if you have a habit of overcommitting, it's a bad habit to have. I think that's all. Is there anything else? No, I got the beaver for you. So beaver is a hardworking card. It's a physical card. It also says to me, you're not afraid of hard work. And it says to me, you have done a lot of hard work. So if you're Pisces, you have recently done a lot of work on your inner self. I want you to hear that because they want me to validate this for you. If you are not seeing the results of that work yet, is because it's on its way to you. So make sure you know where you focus your energy. All right? I feel like I want to stomp my feet. I don't know why. I'm stomping my feet. Okay, guys, I think that's all I have. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I think I'm going to make it a habit of doing these lives. What do you think? Should I be doing these lives? People overcommit to create distractions or fill a void. Absolutely. Stomp my feet, yes. Okay, guys, should I be doing this every month? Should I do lives every month? I'm going to see how the audio comes out because the other three were not. Yes. Okay. The other three were not great. So yes, woo! Yes. I am getting a lot of feedback from you. I love you guys are crazy. Amazingly crazy. I love you all. I can't even keep up with all the yeses. I am getting a distinct feeling that you like connecting with me when I'm live. So here's what I'm doing. I am working on creating a platform where I will do a lot more lives. I know naturally I'm supposed to be that there. It has taken me a while to accept that because of my own stuff. And doing this live is helping me feel a little bit more comfortable with the process because it is very different than being recorded. So if you are a private Facebook member, you will hear about this in the next 2 to 3 weeks. All right, guys, thank you so much for all of you, for every single comment, for all your donations. We've had over 400 people at some point, and that to me is out of this freaking world. Thank you so much. I love you all, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Take care. Bye.